Also on the topic of foreign affairs is the issue of foreign investors buying more of Colorado's agricultural land.
Critics say it's creating unfair competition, and some of them say it could potentially threaten national security. Tonight, Denver 7's Brandon Richard dug into the data and shares who really owns Colorado.
The United States bringing down a Chinese balloon that earlier today spotted over parts of North and South Carolina.
Tensions between the United States and China have increased in recent years.
Order the Pentagon to shoot it down.
I made clear that the presence of this surveillance balloon in U.S. airspace is a clear violation of U.S. sovereignty and international law.
As distrust deepens,
there's no question that China is a hostile nation towards the United States.
Fears have flourished.
The Chinese government has a plan, a 100-year plan now to take over the world. And it includes taking over the United States. That is an imminent threat, I would think.
One area lawmakers, both in D.C. and Denver, have grown increasingly concerned about is foreign ownership of agricultural land. Last year, State Representative Brandy Bradley introduced a bill to ban foreign ownership of ag land in Colorado.
There is simply no reason we should be reliant on a communist country like China for our food supply.
The bill was killed in committee. According to the USDA, foreign investors hold an interest in 43 million acres of ag land in the U.S. Colorado has the third largest amount of foreign-held ag land in the country, over 2.5 million acres, an increase of over 500,000 acres from the year before.
We do kind of see this as a growing problem.
Tyler Garrett is with the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, which represents ag producers in Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico.
We have around 15,000 members across the 3 states.
The group supports banning foreign land ownership, in part because he says allowing foreign ownership makes it harder for Colorado farmers and ranchers to buy land and compete.
It's sometimes hard to compete against a multinational organization that has a lot deeper pockets.
He points to Smithfield Foods, which is the nation's largest pork producer. The Virginia-based company was bought by a Chinese company in 2013.
I think that's really is a lot of the concern there is around multinational corporations coming in and buying large swaths of land and agricultural productions, and then further consolidating those down.
In a statement, Smithfield Foods said it owns approximately 4,100 acres of land in Colorado, or 1/100th of 1%. Despite concerns, the percentage of foreign-owned ag land in the U.S. is small, accounting for just 3% of all privately held land. And while many people worry about China, USA data shows that Chinese investors own less than 1% of ag land here in the U.S. Most foreign-owned ag land is actually owned by Canadian investors. In Colorado, Canada, the UK, Italy, the Netherlands, and Germany account for 2/3 of foreign-owned ag land.
So it's privately owned companies, usually investment operations that have multiple investors and multiple owners. As far as government owned, I think that's a lot of fear being sought to scare people into something that would lead to something else.
Zach Riley is with the Colorado Livestock Association and has looked into foreign ownership of ag land in Colorado.
I would say 80% of the time they are doing nothing with it. It's just parcel holding and investment.
The federal government also keeps a close eye on foreign ownership of ag land through the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, also known as CFIUS.
It's an interagency committee, and it's chaired by the Secretary of the Treasury. And there are 8 other members that include the Secretaries of State, Homeland Security, Commerce, Energy, the U.S. Attorney General, U.S. trade representatives, and directors of science and technology policy.
Ashley House is with the Colorado Farm Bureau.
The origins of CFIUS date back to the Cold War under President Ford, who convened the committee. And then the further iterations of CFIUS were strengthened by security concerns after 9/11.
The committee reviews transactions involving foreign investors and looks for potential national security risk.
This committee has the authorization to review and even block transactions involving foreign investment.
The president also has the power to block transactions involving foreign investors, though it's rare. Presidents have only exercised this power 7 times. But as tensions with China increase, so have the number of investigations into foreign investment deals in both the Trump and Biden administrations. Howe says the state of Colorado also tracks foreign investments.
So that's already a mechanism and review, additional review that we have in place here at the state level.
But fear often spreads faster than fact, and some worry it could potentially send the wrong message.
And I've heard some pretty heinous things said about the idea, but it sends a very negative message. It says that we're not welcoming. That if you're a foreign person or foreign entity, you're not welcome.
Those calling for a ban on foreign ownership of ag land say that's not their intention.
We definitely don't want it to be a signal that we're not open to anyone coming in from the outside.
Instead, they say they want to protect Colorado farmers, ranchers, and the land. Land with deep roots and tangled webs beneath the surface. Brandon Richard, Denver 7.